In February 1959, an experienced team of 9 hikers vanished on a remote ridge in Russia's Ural Mountains. Days later, their bodies were discovered under circumstances so strange, so haunting, that even today no one knows what truly happened. The mountain, known to the local Mansi as Kolat-Syakhl, the Dead Mountain, had claimed its victims. What stalked them that night? Their own fears, or something far darker? In early January of 1959, 10 students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, including radio engineer Igor Dyatlov, set out on what was supposed to be a routine winter trek across the Ural Mountains in Sverdlovsk Oblast. Their objective? Reach Mount Otorten by late February, covering roughly 300 kilometers of remote, snowbound terrain. The leader, Dyatlov, had agreed that once the group returned to the village of Vizhay, they'd send a telegram to their sports club. The party included 8 men and 2 women. One of the men, Yuri Yudin, turned back early due to illness, leaving 9 to press onward. They arrived at Ivdel by train and then traveled by truck to Vizhay, the last inhabited settlement northbound. On 27th January, they began the main trek. As the days progressed, conditions worsened. Temperatures plunged below 30 degrees Celsius, strong winds pounded the ridges, and mountain terrain offered little shelter. The group carried skis, sledges, and camping gear. They were experienced and well-equipped. And yet, on 31st January, the group reached a wooded valley and made camp. They cached excess food and equipment, indicating they expected to be away for a substantial stretch. By the night of 1st February, they pitched their tent on the edge of a high-altitude slope, just below the shoulder of Kolat-Syakhl, Dead Mountain in Mansi. This location would prove tragic. In the early hours of February 2nd, something terrified the group. Evidence suggests they cut their tent open from the inside and fled into the darkness, some without shoes, some only in socks. Why would seasoned hikers abandon their tent, warm, insulated, and retreat into sub-zero wilderness, half-dressed? When searchers finally reached the site on the 26th of February, they found the group's tent oddly collapsed and covered in snow. Investigators noted the tent was cut from the inside. 9 sets of footprints, some barefoot, some wearing only socks, led from the tent into the forest toward the tree line about 1.5 kilometers away. Some footprints ended abruptly in the snow. Near a large pine at the forest edge, the first 2 bodies were found, Yuri Krivonoshenko and Yuri Doroshenko. Both were shoeless, wearing only underwear or minimal clothing, next to the remains of a small fire. Branches on the tree were broken up to 5 meters high, suggesting someone climbed it, perhaps to scout or signal. 3 more bodies, Igor Dyatlov, Zenaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin, were found between the pine and the tent. Their positions suggested they were attempting to return to shelter. Then came the strangest part. On the 4th of May, 4 more bodies were discovered under 4 meters of snow in a ravine about 75 meters deeper into the woods. What made these remains baffling? 3 of these had suffered catastrophic injuries. Major skull fractures, chest and rib damage, as if crushed by a car crash, yet no external wounds consistent with such trauma. Some had missing eyes, some missing tongue, lips shredded, facial tissue gone. Radiation traces were detected on some clothing. These findings made the incident far more than just freezing to death. Something about the scene defied logic. The original Soviet inquest concluded that all 9 died from hypothermia and a compelling natural force. But investigators were silent on the specific cause. They declared the case closed in 1959 with no perpetrator, no normalized explanation. Many files remained classified for decades. That lack of closure, that burden of unanswered questions, is what keeps the legend alive. In 2021, scientists proposed a slab avalanche triggered by katabatic winds as the most plausible explanation. The researchers noted the slope was about 23 degrees, traditionally too mild for an avalanche. Yet modeling showed a delayed slab could have collapsed hours after a cut in the snowpack. Wind built dense snow slabs above the tent, which collapsed, crushing part of the tent and forcing the hikers out into the night. But critics note this doesn't address the internal injuries or radiation. The region was active during the Cold War. Some propose Soviet military parachute mines or secret weapons tests caused blast-like injuries and radiation. The injuries on the bodies could match explosive concussive force. Another theory: powerful katabatic winds produced infrasound waves, frequencies known to induce panic in humans. The hikers may have fled the tent in terror of unseen forces. Some believe the group was attacked by a mythical creature, a yeti, or encountered a UFO. These theories are sensational but lack strong evidence. Despite decades of investigation, many parts of the Dyatlov case remain unresolved. Why did the hikers abandon their tent in deadly cold, some barely clothed? Why did the internal injuries on some bodies resemble those from car crash level force but show no external wounds? Why was radiation detected on some clothing, yet no confirmed nuclear incident? Why was the tent cut open from the inside? Why were key files classified for years? Today, the Dyatlov Pass Incident has become a symbol of unexplained horror and Cold War mystery. The area around Kolatsiakal is still shunned. Some Russian hikers believe the massacre site to be cursed. Documentaries, podcasts, Reddit threads continue to dissect the case from new angles. Many say the story has all the elements of a modern horror film, but it happened in real life. Would-be adventurers still visit the mountain. The tent used in the expedition is on display in corporate museums, but the cause of death remains contested. Something drove 9 capable hikers into a frozen nightmare. Whether it was nature's invisible forces, human weaponry, or something else entirely, the truth remains buried under snow, lies, and obfuscation. So ask yourself, if the answer exists, will we ever know it? Or is the mountain still hiding its secret, waiting for the next footprints to vanish into the cold? If this story gave you chills, subscribe to Hidden Pages